So we've waited a little bit of time and our knitting needle is now kind of solid. So I'm taking my luster dust. Silver luster dust is a powder that is shiny, and you can use it with any kind of alcohol, vodka or lemon extract or Everclear, and you mix a paste until it's about the consistency of milk. You don't want it runny like water, but you want it thick a little bit like whole milk. And we're just going to paint our knitting needle with the silver. And you can do it, you know, I've seen knitting needles that come in a metallic pink or baby blue or gold. So whatever color you want to make your knitting needle, you can do it. So I'm going to just paint this on one side, and we're going to let that dry for a little bit. So I've got this one that's already painted, and I'm just giving it a little bit of a second coat. So what we're going to do once our knitting needles are painted, and we're going to come back to that one, we're going to take it and we're just going to jam it right into our cake, because the knitting needles would be hanging outside the basket. So there you go. So that's one. Now you notice I don't have a little top on there. I didn't want to put the top on till the very end, because I want to make sure that the knitting needle is the right length. If I wanted to snip it, I could snip it right now, which I actually may do. I'm going to get the other one in there and then take a look at it. So let's get the other side of this one painted, and then we will put it in the basket, and then we'll decide what length we want them. I'm going to add a little more vodka to this. It's getting a little thick. And I'm not being very delicate right now when I'm painting this, because when I lift it up to jam it into the cake, I'm going to ding it up and it's going to get fingerprints on it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that up and touch it up once I get it all in the cake. So there we go. Let's get that one painted. Now we're going to take this one and jam it in the cake as well. All right. Boop. Okay. So there we go. All right, so I'm looking at my knitting needles and I feel like they're a little bit too tall. So I'm going to take just wire cutters, and this is why I didn't finish them off and put the cap on them until I actually had them in. And I'm going to cut both of them off right about there, because I think that is proportionately, you don't want them too tall outside the cake. So I'm going to use my wire cutters and cut them both there, and then I'm going to take 2 little rounds of the modeling chocolate, the black, and I'm just gonna, I made a little circle, a little ball, and I'm just gonna squish the ball and spin it in my hands. As I'm squishing, I'm spinning, so I'm getting a nice, perfect little round disc. And I'm gonna stick that right on the top there. Actually, I can probably go a little bit thinner, and I'm getting a little stickiness, so I'm gonna get my cornstarch, put them on my fingers so my fingers aren't quite so sticky. So I'm going to go a little bit thinner and a little bit bigger, because I want the top of the knitting needle to have be a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to pinch my ends together just a hair as I'm going around, just so they come to a little point. And I'm going to attach that on the top of each of my knitting needles. So there's one right on there. I'm going to do the same with this one. And then I'm going to finish them off by touching them up with my silver luster dust, so we don't have any of the black showing through. Now when you use a luster dust, if you're painting anything, it's always a good idea to start with a color close to what you're painting. So I happen to go with black because I'm covering it with silver, but if you want to paint something gold, start with yellow fondant underneath it, because that way you've got part of the battle already fought and won, because you've got a color already there on there. All right, so we're going to paint our little discs on the top. We're going to touch up anywhere that we feel like we dinged up our knitting needles. And I think we are almost done. Let's see. I think that's about it. I'm Monika Stout with YummyArts, and this is our knitting basket cake. Thanks for joining us.